It's great to have you here. The details now. 6 lives, farm produce and many homes in the northeast region have been lost to floods caused by spillage from the Bagri Dam and heavy rains. Unfortunately, the devastation has spread to neighboring Upper East region. Correspondent Albert Sorry reports of acres of farmland submerged in water with many roads flooded after nearly a week of torrential rains coupled with the spillage of the Bagri Dam in Burkina Faso. The National Disaster Management Organization is still trying to ascertain the full extent of damage, but dozens of farmers say they have lost this year's harvest. Albert Sorry joins us. Hello, Albert. So we know, for example, in the northeast region, the residents complain of, some of them complain of not receiving an alert, and that's why they've been affected by the floods. Is the story the same in the Upper East region?
No, Bernice. In fact, here in the Upper East region, NADMO actually started preparing in anticipation of these floods over 2 weeks ago. They held this training program at the Via Dam in the Bongo district, where they were teaching their staff how to rescue people who may be drowning, how to pump water out of flooded homes and all of that. So in the Upper East region, the preparation for this had actually been going on for some time. The challenge is that the people in the low-lying areas, didn't have anywhere to go. And with those who have farms around the White Volta Lake, they didn't have much of a choice. They actually went there to cultivate this year in the hope that we don't have floods. And time again, the issue has always been that they keep telling the farmers that chances are, if you cultivate your crops along the White Volta, if there are floods, you are likely to lose the farm. But the farmers keep going back there because they don't have anywhere to go. And so, like I said, it's always about counting on their luck. And this time, they haven't been lucky. Around the Palugo area, most of the farms there are completely submerged. In fact, what I'm learning is that the water has gone into the factory. I'm on the way to that place to see the extent of
You mean the tomato
damage.
Factory? The Palugo tomato factory?
Exactly, yes, the tomato factory. I've spoken to the caretaker of the place this morning, and he says that there is water in the compound of the factory. And now this factory is very close to the road, which is actually very far from the low-lying areas surrounding the White Volta Lake. So if water gets into the factory, you can only imagine the extent of damage that has been caused to the farms around that area.
Albert, so tell us what the way forward is. What's NADMO saying? Are they planning to evacuate residents?
Well, NADMO in the Upper East region is currently compiling, information from all the districts. I've spoken to the director, the regional director, Jerry Asamani, this morning, and he says that he's getting information from all the parts of the Upper East region where the floods have been serious. In fact, they've distributed some relief to the worst affected so far, and they're waiting for more reliefs from Accra. So that's what NADMO is doing. Jerry had agreed to speak with us. Hopefully he can give us more information. What he said was that new information keeps coming. So far, we haven't heard of any loss of a life in the Upper East region yet. What we know is that many people have lost their property, and the farmlands are the worst affected. We also have a number of roads, specifically in the Boku areas, which have been flooded. As at yesterday, it was very difficult for people to use portions of the Bolga-Boku road. It's also been raining, actually, in most parts of the region this morning again. So NADMO is still doing their checks, and they will inform us as time goes on, as the day goes by, exactly the extent of damage that has been caused.
All right, Albert, you spoke about NADMO planning to send in some relief items, but let's focus on the problem and how government over time have tried to solve the flooding caused by the Bagri Dam spillage. Sometime last year, there was a meeting between Ghanaian authorities and their Burkinabe counterparts. And also we know that the Polugu Dam was supposed to serve as a receiver, sort of the water coming from the Bagri Dam spillage. How do residents feel about this perennial problem, even though there are efforts underway to solve it, though slacking?
Dennis, the sword cutting for the Polugu multipurpose dam took place in November of last year. The construction is going to take some time before this dam is ready to serve its purpose. Now, over time, what the farmers around these areas have always complained about is the fact that government needs to convince the Burkinabe authorities to see how they can spill the dam bit by bit and not wait till it gets to its maximum capacity before they spill the water. This year, that negotiation actually went on, and the Burkinabe authorities communicated that they were going to start spilling the dam little by little. What has actually worsened the situation is the torrential rains we've had in the last 1 week. So the Bagri Dam spillage alone couldn't have caused all this damage. The problem is that we've had rains, further compound the situation. And so there is very little, because this is a natural disaster. Until the dam is completed, chances are, if the rains continue to come like this every year, this flooding situation is not going to stop anytime soon.
Thank you very much. Albert Sori is a man in the Upper East region, bringing us updates on the flooding situation there. Let's stay on the floods for some time. The Municipal Chief Executive of the West Mamprty Assembly, Arimaya Osomo, has been touring affected communities, and he joins us live with more. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. So what have you observed during your tour this morning?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Indeed, it has not been easy for us this year. This year flooding is a different one. We have done all that we could in our ability as municipality to avert the situation. But unfortunately, it is more natural than artificial. We have done our part. Looking at the people, I have seen my people be in a devastated situations across the municipality, and I'm so much worried I cannot sleep with that.
So when you say it is different, what exactly do you mean, this flooding?
Yes, we have had experience of the Bagri Dam spillage. Fortunately or unfortunately, our municipality is just having the biggest land closer to the Polugu Dam, where the spillage always affected. So over the years, we have put measures to make sure the spillage does not affect the activities of our people and our farming activities. This year, we did a lot of education, trying to put measures in place to make sure that the spillage does not affect us. But unfortunately, the spillage came with heavy rains, and the rains has been this time around very disastrous. Continuously, we had rains for over a week. Continuously, coupled with the fact that the spillage also came higher this time round, it has made things very difficult to control. It has affected our lives. It has affected the situation. Even our electrical situation has also worsened off, because we have been having continuous lights out in the municipality. These are all caused by the natural disaster that we are experiencing now in the municipality.
But have you received any information from the Meteo service with regards to the rains?
Yes, we have. We only have the information of having the fact, knowing the fact that we may experience a rain today or tomorrow. But the magnitude of the rain is not communicated to us. Besides that, looking at our people who are illiterate, they may not be able to understand the real situation. They look at how the sky comes together, the clouds come together to give rain. They don't look at what the meteorological agencies advises. However, we have also put measures in place through our NADMO unit and other units to make sure we put measures in place, and then we avert the situation. Indeed, this year's situation has been different because it came with a different dynamics.
Okay.
And that is what is affecting us now.
Mr. Remaya, we spoke to the Minister for Works and Housing on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM this morning, and he is suggesting that the residents relocate. Is that possible? Very
possible. His suggestion is just exactly what we are also suggesting in the West Mamprty Municipal Assembly. Communities like Namiyala, Joe, and other places, definitely we have to relocate them. Fortunately and unfortunately, as part of the construction of the Palugu multipurpose dam, those communities are also going to be affected. So it has come at the right time. We'll be looking at how best we can communicate with the contractors. Then assembly and contractors can come together and make sure we relocate them to safer places. We can't continue to be suffering this way.
So in the short term, we don't know when the rains will end, and we need to protect lives and property. So where will you relocate them to, and who is going to bear the cost of that?
Yesterday when I visited one of the communities, Passington, for instance, we started a program. Even as we speak today, I have sent some people there to go and do something that we call the listing of houses that we're supposed to relocate. So within the shorter period, that is what we are going to do. Make sure that we bring people who are at the flood-prone areas outside that zone to make sure that they are at least a bit comfortable. Whilst we look at the long-term solution to make sure that those issues does not occur again.
Mr. Remaya, I just want to find out, is there available accommodation now? If not, how would that be provided, and who will bear the cost?
And that is why we need the support of philanthropists and government. For now, Assembly, we will not have the resources to get accommodation for the flood-prone victims. What we'll only do is that we'll have to talk to the other community members whom they are living with, which houses are not part of the affected areas, so that they can support to accommodate them for now. Whilst we look at some measures, we put in measures to see how best we can get accommodation, that is permanent accommodation for those people to move in. That is exactly what we are doing now.
All right, thank you very much for your time this morning. Remaya Osomolaki is MCE for the West Mamprty Assembly, and we've been talking about flooding in that part of the country. We know that 6 persons have lost their lives so far, including a 3-year-old, and so this is quite a serious matter.